want to talk about UPFs. This is not some kind of mad flying saucer type thing. It is something that you probably eat. I certainly do. We're talking about ultra-processed foods here. There's no one definition for these things, and though they are basically foods with a lot of ingredients in. I tell you what, we're going to get someone who can help us out and a little bit understanding of this. Vanessa Sturman is a health coach, speaker as well. Hi, Vanessa.
Hi there.
Ultra-processed foods. Sounds like some kind of superhero. It's proving, though, according to science, not to be the case at all. What foods are we talking about here?
Well, we're generally talking about foods that are created industrially and that have ingredients that you wouldn't typically find in your kitchen. So it might include artificial flavours and emulsifiers. And these are our foods that are often highly palatable, high sugar, high fats, high salt. So this might include crisps, cakes, biscuits, pizzas. And these are very easy to overeat, but they're not all the same. There is a bit of a nuance. So you have some foods like plant-based milks, plant-based meats, some whole grain cereals, which might be ultra processed, but might actually be quite good for you.
OK, gosh, it is complicated, isn't it? Now, the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because in the news today, we've seen this paper that's in the Lancet Health Journal, which is basically saying ultra-processed foods are linked to multiple chronic diseases. That is quite a terrifying thought. What are these dangers?
Well, because they are high fat, high salt, high sugar, we know that eating those sorts of foods puts us more at risk of lifestyle diseases like heart disease, type 2 diabetes. What these foods are also doing is they're pushing off our plate the foods we know we need to eat to help us stay healthy. So if we're eating lots of ultra-processed foods, and it's easy to eat more and more of them because they're often very hyperpalatable, it means it's going to make it even harder for us to get the fruit, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, seeds and beans. And we know we're not getting enough of those fibre-filled foods.
Yeah.
Those are the foods that actually reduce our risk of lifestyle diseases.
The thing with those ultra-processed foods, they're delicious. They're or maybe they're not, I don't know. But, like, they're easy. They're swift. You just bung them in the microwave sometimes. They're full of flavours and all that kind of stuff. They're quite attractive.
I agree with you. They can be very tasty, and they are designed to be tasty. And I think what we also need to talk about is the fact that it might be hard for people to 100% avoid them, and you don't have to 100% avoid them in order to be healthy. So my advice is start filling your plate with, even if you do have an ultra-processed food on the plate, so say you have a bit of pizza, fill out the rest of the plate with lots of vegetables, beans. You might get a hummus or something from the supermarket. Fill up on those foods as well, so that you don't overeat the ultra-processed foods. And having a bit of them, and like I said, that some of them are a little bit different. You might have a bit of the plant-based milk, plant-based meat. The plant-based meat can be a great switch away from an actual meat-based burger or the ultra-processed red meat, for example. So it's not all 100% straightforward, and we don't need to 100% avoid them, like I said.
Yeah, how do we know, then, the ones that are okay? Is this where we have to get our magnifying glasses out and look at the ingredients?
So looking at the ingredients can be very difficult for the regular person in the supermarket. The list can be very long, and there can be things on that list that might actually not be problematic. The biggest issue is going to be, like I said, if they're very high fat, lots of added sugar, very high salt, low protein and low fiber generally. There are some that are high protein that are still problematic and we don't want to go for, like the ultra processed red meat. So it's often about looking at what the science says as well. So we know that some of those foods, like getting in the whole grain cereal, can be good for us. But in general, a better action to take could be just saying, right, I'm going to fill my plate out more with the fruit, the veg, the beans and the nuts and the seeds to help push out some of those ultra processed foods.
It's the whole foods, isn't it? It's the things that are complete, like a carrot, a banana. It's a whole food. Nothing's been done to tinker with that. It is what it is.
Yeah, so that's a general rule we can take. But processed foods, so that would be things like our tins of beans, our hummus, our peanut butter. These are actually really good for us as well. And there might be some other foods in packets. Like, for example, you can get a packet of pre-flavored lentils. Now, these are excellent to go on salads, go in a sandwich, really fantastic for our gut health. They've got plant protein in, and we know they can reduce our risk of disease. But you might look at the back of that packet and say, oh, this list of ingredients is a bit long. But you'll find a lot of the ingredients are herbs and spices and vegetables and lentils.
Okay. Gosh, it is a bit complicated, but I see what you're saying. Vanessa, thank you very much for that. Really good advice there from Vanessa Sturman, health coach, speaker as well.